Welcome to Thematic Recreations, where we create and recreate buildings, landmarks, and objects from reality and fiction. I'm your host, Jack King. In this episode, I'm focusing on Asian built structures. I have a few here that I'm going to build. One is a restroom, which I did not do in my last video. One is a shelter, and then each of the three sizes of amenities. Starting with the bathroom here, I'm going to go ahead and create a shell out of this dojo screen, and then after that I'm going to start looking for roof pieces. The Asian roof piece set is a little bit odd to work with. I generally have to set the snapping down to a quarter meter in order to get it set down properly inside. I was struggling a bit here to find the right corner pieces. As I go on, I found and was able to use them more effectively than this. I ended up just deleting all the eave and working with the smaller corner instead of using the sloped pieces like I do in the larger builds. I was working with the roof tiles here to see if I could get that to look a bit more visually interesting, but I ended up giving up on that and just going with a standard wood instead of doing something special with it. I shrunk these down to where they wouldn't clip into the wall, and then I went ahead and added some bamboo pieces in order to give it a bit of a verticality. That way it didn't seem so small. And I wanted to make sure that the back of this was also decorated, so I added one of these vents. I placed it on the ground there to make sure it was vertical and sticking through the roof properly. And then I went down and added some stuff to the back, not as much as most others, since I wanted this to be relatively pretty from all angles. But I did end up add I'd call it a water heater. It's not exactly the same, but I figured if it's a bathroom, it needed some sort of water pipe. So I ended up making it more of like an onsen, like a bathhouse sort of, what I would imagine would be good through there, with the entrance valve, this going down to some sort of tank, either a water heater or a water filter, and then going back down to the ground with a hand valve, and then one going into the building. Here I'm adding the bathroom decals just to signify the bathroom, just from like a guest perspective so that they know what the building is. Normally you'd have some sort of signs outside or pointing to the restroom that they would know what it is. Honestly, I'd really like some like water fountains, something like that, some ATMs or some other props like that. That way we can add some other guest necessities to these builds. But I guess we'll have to wait and see if Frontier decides to add those. With this, I was thinking more of like a mountain, not quite Mount Fuji, but just a mountainscape of some kind with that front, because I associate, a mountain isn't going to be moving much. It's sturdy. It's refuge. If it's a shelter, it's kind of a visual indicator, because you have a lot of international guests. Even the speakers go through different languages whenever they're doing announcements and such. So I figured I should at least do some sort of visual telling about what this is instead of signage, since there's no shelter signs. This roof was a tad easier to do than the other, since it's all on a 4-meter grid, so I didn't have to worry about having to figure it out what to put in the middle. I was able to just close it off with that and add the little concrete bar on the top, or I guess it's maybe tile. I'm not sure. It looks like concrete, so let's go with that. I didn't want this to sit into the ground as it was, so I ended up deleting that back section and raising it up a little, just so it didn't look like it was completely sunken into the ground. It just, I'm not sure what it was. It just didn't sit right with me. And here, I wanted a little bit of an edge to it since it looked kind of unfinished. I was struggling a little bit because the single 2-meter pieces of this are a little bit hard to work with. And some of them don't exist. Like the top half of the sloped 4x4 doesn't. You can see here, it only fits on the bottom half and not the top. I ended up working around it, but that'd be nice to see as well. I ended up doubling the mountain section up to give it a bit more oomph, something a bit different than just a flat wall with a decal on it. That's something from Minecraft. If you're doing some sort of build, you don't want it to just look flat. You kind of build out a little bit, add slabs or trapdoors or something just to give it a little bit of depth to it. And so I did that here. There's nothing really on the sides yet. I will go back and add trim to the side of that. That way you don't see the bare bamboo on each side. but all I'm doing now is adding path to it. 1 meter path on the outside and a 2 meter path on the inside, just to have something where the foundation would be if this was built in reality. Here I'm just trying to mitigate some of that Z fighting. With those, it's not very noticeable, but I try and get rid of it anywhere that there is. And here I'm just adding some of these pillars that I can clip into the wall to hide the other half and give a little bit of structure to it. That way it seems a bit more sturdy. Here I'm looking for a sign. I'm not really going to find one, but I didn't figure out anything else to signify what this was, so I ended up adding some decorations here just to spruce it up a little bit, and I added some plants to those planters a little bit after I add this trim and shrink it down. Here I was trying to find something to stick on the sides because the top of it looked kind of flat. I couldn't find anything. I ended up going with a rail that I recolored and sticking out the side in a sort of diagonal. Now I'm starting on the first of the amenities. As I've done previously, I'm going to start with the large amenities since they take the most room, then slowly scale them down as I copy them onto the medium and small amenities. I've seen this technique in a few of the other blueprints that I've used in my parks, and I wanted to try and emulate it to where you raise the ground off a little bit and create sort of a path around, sort of like a dojo style, or I'm not sure what it's actually called, but I liked the aesthetic of it. I liked it looked. The guests are going to clip into the floor a little bit, but I guess that's a caveat. You get it to look a little bit nicer, but it doesn't work as well. It is still functional though, but that's something to keep in mind. I wanted to add just a little bit of color to this, so I added that hint of red to the poles just to give a little bit of depth to color. Okay, starting on the roof, I wanted to make sure to use the other corner pieces, the ones that slope upwards. So I designed it to where I would have my core building to where I'd be able to lop off the sides and mirror them around, but also be able to easily change this into small and medium amenities after the fact. Alright, now I'm deselecting the building and making it an object to where I can duplicate it and move it over each of the different amenities afterwards. I had to fiddle with it some to get it to work properly. You had to place it, then go back in and edit it and drop it back down, because for some reason, when you're placing a blueprint, you can only do it on the 2-meter grid. And I needed it on a 0.25 grid. So I had to place it, edit it, and then move it to where I actually need it to be. As you can see, I'm blazing right through this process. I didn't get it down properly enough, so I had to go back in and edit it and drop it down just slightly in order to get those pathways to match up. But after this, the first section is completed after I add the signs and some lights. Right here, I'm trying to figure out how to adjust the length properly in order to fit it inside of the small amenity. Of course, it's big enough to where I could just place the amenity inside and not alter it, but I try my best to keep all of my buildings compact, since I know all of the different parks can have some sort of issue. Obviously, if you're in a creative park or a sandbox, you're not going to be worried about space, or you can just place down the large amenity. But the small and medium I place specifically for campaign mode and challenge mode in order for you to still get some sort of aesthetics with your buildings and not have to sacrifice uh, aesthetics when you're just trying to complete a map. moving on to the small amenity, it didn't give me as many issues as the medium did, outside of me messing up putting it on the wrong grid. I ended up putting it about a meter away from where it actually needed to be, and so that caused me to miscut or take less off than I needed to with the structure. You can see here there's a 1 meter gap up there, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what's going on here. That was me. I messed up. And so after this, I go back and fix it, but for the first little bit, I am fiddling to try and get rid of that gap. This is where I looked at it and I was like, okay, there's something wrong here. I just can't tell what it is. But after I look at it for a second, I start to realize, okay, what's going on here? Oh, there's a gap there. And so I ended up having to redo all that, take out the middle, finally align the back end of it. And it ended up working out better than if I tried to work around that mistake. I always order my amenities in shopping, food, and drink in that order. Last video, I ended up accidentally duplicating the shopping instead of the food. I went ahead and fixed that blueprint after the fact, so it's still just fine. I should have mentioned it in that video, but I'm not about to re-render the thing. So I'm putting it in this one. If you're watching all of them now, you know. If you didn't catch it, then hey, you're just like me. So I only noticed it once I tried to place it in the park and I was still lacking my food. And I went in there, fixed it, and then re-uploaded it. So it's still working. This one I didn't have any issues with misplacing the amenities, so it's working as intended first try. Here's where I realized there weren't any signs for either of these, or any of these, in fact. So I ended up going through looking for signs for the first section and then attaching them to each of the amenities manually instead of making them part of the blueprint. I chose all Asian setting, you got dinosaur because it's a dinosaur game. You got sushi, and you got I think maybe boba. I'm not sure what the last sign was, but they have signs so you can tell them apart, or the guests could tell them apart. I don't remember if I added the lanterns before or after this, or at all. I could have swore I did, but that might have been a different build that I did with these pieces. If not, I need to go back and add them, but we'll see. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel. That lets me know you like these videos and you'd like to see more of them, and also lets you know if you hit the bell when I upload. I've got the builds on screen now. I'll have the links and share codes in the description, so you can subscribe on your computer or tablet and not have to deal with it. And all builds that I upload start with JKTR, Jack King Thematic Recreations, so you can find them while in game. Thank you. Have a great day.